So I did a thing.
You did a thing. This
I did a thing.
Never good words. But okay, it's being recorded. So, I mean, I've got witnesses now.
So for this movie, which is Queenpins, I entered us into a contest.
For how? What did they ask for?
It's just a contest for the movie Queenpins, actually. So it's Kristen Bell and everyone promoting the movie. And it's a chance to win a $500 Visa gift card.
Ooh, just like for anything?
Yeah.
To do, I'd like that.
$500 cash, essentially.
What was it through?
I think it's through the people promoting the movie.
Nice.
So yeah, you just name, email, and you can sign up.
Can people listening to this sign up?
I don't know, actually. So it's today would be when you're listening to this, it will be the last day of the contest.
So if you listen to this the day it came out, you're in luck. Today is the last day.
September 29th is the final day to enroll and sign up. So if you have a chance, it's free. Why not? Might as well try.
And everyone can use $500.
Yeah. Who can't? Who's going to turn down $500 free? So.
Exactly. So, okay. So this week's episode is Queenpins.
Yes.
So we never did our intro in any of the other, but I'm just going to do it now. So I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
And this is Cinematically Correct. And yeah, so Queenpins was actually picked by Tyler.
It was. I saw this and I immediately thought of my dear wife.
Oh, so sweet.
So I showed her the trailer and then we had to go see this movie.
And we had to find it. So we'll get into like the process of finding it. But you do have a beer, so let's do that.
So I do have a beer. It's a nice teal can. You love the color teal.
This whole podcast is like just loving me over here. I'm loving it.
It's Queens Get the Money from Queens, New York. So it's very appropriate.
Yeah. Let's see how it is. I mean, so you're not excited because it's an IPA, is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be.
I'm hoping the teal can gives it like that oomph.
It's not as bad as the last IPA.
Well, that's progress.
I'll give it a 3. I mean, it's not good, but it's not.
But you'll finish the can.
Yeah.
A 3 you'll finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So before we do the brief, now we normally go right into the brief, but I want to talk about just the complication of finding this.
Right.
So Tyler found this when researching for a different movie, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yes. I had been Googling the trailer for Baby Driver.
Okay.
And then this just popped up somehow connected to Baby Driver. I don't know how.
I don't know.
And
I mean, they do drive around a bit.
Well, so I saw Kristen Bell and I was like, oh, well, I'll click on it. I'll see what that's about. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, I have to show my wife. And
yeah, so we wrote it down and then also mentioned it in a podcast before we had even looked to see where it would be available. We were just like, it's fine. We'll
really
find
bad
it.
Planning on our part.
Yeah. So you want to explain what happened there?
So it's only available in Cinemark, I believe.
Yeah. Cinemark theaters.
And the closest one is an hour and a half away.
In another state. There is none in our state.
Well, I think there's one in Springfield.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
yeah, there is one in our state. It's 2 hours away.
So yes, we had to drive all the way to Connecticut to watch this movie.
But I will say, the theater was delightful.
I mean, it was nice, except for the broken chair that I got the assigned seating, and I got a broken chair. It was kind of not great, but
such is life. But anyway, so yeah, it was a little bit of a process, and I know a few of you guys, when I had tweeted out the audience ask, which we didn't get any answers, which I expected, messaged me and said, I don't even know what this movie is. Where is it? I'm Googling it. I don't see it. That's why. It's only Cinemark. So if you don't have a Cinemark near you, you're not going to see it.
It is apparently after the 30th of September going to be streaming on one of the streaming services. I think it's
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus,
yes. Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen it and you're listening to this and you want to, make sure that you go and check it out there. Or if you have a Cinemark near you, do that because we do need to be supporting the theaters if we can.
Because we saw this movie in theaters, we have to jump into the trailers before we get to anything else.
Okay.
So, did you like any of the trailers? Let's start off there. I was kind of very underwhelmed.
So there was one trailer that I was like, I definitely want to see this movie, but it's going to be horrifyingly sad. And I know you know which one it is.
Oh, yes. So, this first one was Clint Eastwood and the kid that he has to go retrieve from Mexico.
Yeah, it was called Cry Macho.
Cry Macho. It's basically the same movie as Gran Torino, where he takes in and forms a bond with a a kid that's misunderstood and has to help him out through a tough circumstance.
Yeah,
it's the same movie.
I mean, it's pretty badass that he's able to throw a punch at his age, because he does in this movie. It's been all over Twitter. So, I mean, good for him. But yeah, it does seem like it's kind of just the same movie. So sorry, Clint Eastwood, but I'm not super into seeing it. So sorry.
Not all that. I mean, Clint Eastwood movies are always great. So I would like to see it for that, but I feel like it's going to be a retread of
more
the
of the
same
same.
thing.
Yeah.
Next is the movie you're talking about that you want to see, but it's going to ruin our lives.
Yes.
It's going to be Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah. It looks like it's talking about suicide, and it's talking about a kid who befriends someone who ends up passing, and he didn't actually have a really good friendship with him.
I think it's even more weird than that, where the kid just signed his cast because he's looking to make a connection and then kills himself, and then there's a huge blow up of a misunderstanding, and he has to try to put things together and give the kid's parents some comfort, and it's a whole it looks great, but it looks like a very sad movie.
Yeah, but it also looks like it gives the other kid who's still left behind a purpose, which really looks like a beautiful thing. But anything that deals with death is really hard for me, so that's going to be a really tough movie to watch.
It's going to be a great movie, but it's going to be a tough. You're going to have the right mind frame to go see that.
Absolutely.
Next would be The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love true stories. Okay, I do. So, like, that part of it does make it interesting to me. But other than that, it kind of looked boring. Not gonna lie.
I'm interested because I want to see the dark underbelly behind religion. So it's these dishonest preachers taking money from people and stealing people's hard-earned money because they represent God.
Yeah. I mean, the concept sounds interesting. It's just the way the acting was, and I don't really like period things, which does seem a little bit more periody. I'm not really sure, but I'm not against watching it. I like true stories, so that does pull me in a little bit. So we will see. I
think it's going to do a good job of highlighting the hypocrisy that is certain institutions of religion.
I can agree.
Certainly not all, but in this instance, it's definitely the fake religious people that you have to be aware of.
For sure. The next one is Jackass Forever. Look, we're millennials, right? So we grew up with Jackass. We grew up with Bam Margera. Like, why are we laughing?
I've never seen any of them.
Okay, well, most of us that are normal and had normal childhoods did. But anyway, so I used to get excited for these movies. I used to obviously watch it. I think Bam was on MTV or one of those music stations.
I think they're all on MTV.
Yeah, so I mean, I watched it at home, like the whole thing, Steve-O, the whole thing, right? But now that I'm getting older and they're getting older, it feels weird. Like, it feels like, okay, so we forgot to grow up? Like, what? I don't know.
It's kind of, you're going to keep doing this? At what point are you going to be a normal person? Like,
well, I mean, I'm not. So, like, the Bad Grandpa movies, like, I'm okay with them continuing that. Like, it's not my jam. I don't really like slapstick comedy, whatever. But, like, I'm okay with that. Like, whatever. But it's just, like, seeing Johnny Knoxville, like, do, like, a flip over and, like, he's, like, what, 50 at this point? Like, it just feels weird. It just feels, I don't know. It just feels weird. But, hey, you know what? Do you? If you guys enjoy that type of stuff, it just feels weird for me.
It's their last chance to grab money and still be relevant, I feel. And I never understood it. It's not my thing.
I do hope that they find something, though, that is something they can continue, because I think Johnny Knoxville is very talented. I mean, him, and I think it was...
Yeah, he could do other things. He should be in other movies that are not just...
He is in other movies, and he's talented. So I just hope that he continues, doesn't stop after Jackass stops.
And then the last one, which is more of like a real-life documentary on Julia Childs.
Yes, which reminded me I wanted to see the Meryl Streep one. I still do.
I think that's where everyone instantly goes, because it's Meryl Streep and tied to Julia Childs, and those two are going to be connected forever. But this seems to be more of a documentary on her life.
Yeah.
The title is Julia.
Yeah, which also is the same name of the Meryl Streep. But it's fine. It's not confusing at all. But yeah, so I don't know that I'm necessarily interested in seeing that, but it did make me want to see the Meryl Streep one. So, I mean, you won there. If it's the same company, like, good for you. If it's not, I'm sorry. Anyway, So from there, we normally go into
Brief
the brief
synopsis. Yes.
So do you have one, or are you processing that right now?
Brief synopsis.
Brief synopsis.
It's two friends in Phoenix that are down on their luck and a little bit behind on their bills, and they're very into the couponing community, which is a very tight-knit, active community.
That it is.
So they get this idea to steal extra coupons from the manufacturers' plants in Mexico and then sell them because the coupons have money because they're dollars and multiple dollars off of
Mostly
items.
free products.
Yeah, free items and all of that. So it's their story about stealing coupons.
And going to jail for it, yeah.
And making an insane amount of money.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so before we get into like all of the ins and outs, we do go through IMDb. There isn't a ton of people to go through, but
there's like 3 people.
But yeah, but the people that we do go through are big. So first of all, Kristen Bell. Obviously, we adore her. Like acting as well as personal life, just adore her.
Oh yeah, she's delightful.
She's wonderful. Most recently, we've seen her on The Good Place, but she's in everything. Obviously, she's probably most well known for Veronica Mars, but you know,
she's been in so many things.
Yeah, everything. And she's delightful. She's like my height, so like I steal fashion ideas from her.
You did. You got your Maybells from her. Thank you.
I did. They look great, don't they?
They do.
So thank you, Kristen Bell. You made my husband happy.
She's the perfect choice for this movie. Just
oh yeah.
So she loves coupons. She's apparently a very frugal person.
Good for her.
So she does the majority of her shopping with coupons.
Oh, I love her. Just love it.
And she was talking on Conan. There was an interview, and he's talking to her about this, and she's talking about her favorite coupon ever, which is the Bed Bath & Beyond 20% off coupon.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it's the best coupon ever, because if you go buy a comforter, duvet, or something, you can save like $80 with the 20%.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Guess I'm going to have to keep that in mind.
She has, on more than one occasion, stolen them from her neighbors.
Like what, into their mailbox?
I think so. I think she's committed a federal crime to steal coupons.
I mean, she admitted that on live TV.
She said allegedly, I believe. I may or may not have.
Very, very smart. She's a smarter criminal than she was in the movie.
Yes.
That's adorable. And I love her for that. And also now I'm going to start looking for the 20% off Bed Bath & Beyond coupon.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, they have everything at that store.
Yeah, well, they do. So if you guys are couponers, the one thing I would like to know from you guys is what is your favorite coupon? And if you have favorite coupons, please email me, cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com, and tell us or send us links or any of those things, because I need to get back into couponing. It's been a while. And we'll tell you our story with couponing, but I want to know like what you guys like, because maybe I can get back into it. I feel like I'd have a supportive husband, unlike the one in the movie.
You have a supporting husband in everything.
I do. You're wonderful. Jeez. Okay, next person would be Joel Mchale. So I know him the most from The Soup and Community.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two only things that I can think of.
I'm sure he's in other things. I'm certain he is.
Has to be in other things.
I love his sarcastic demeanor in everything he does. Like he's like my perfect like man in everything he does. You know what I mean? He's just
the perfect personality. He's just I'm going to be a smartass for the sake of being a smartass.
Right, which is what I live for. Yeah. So he's wonderful. In the movie, he's kind of a jerk, but we will talk about their marriage because I do have some like feelings both ways. But he is kind of a jerk. Like, I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts.
I mean, he probably hates his job, honestly, because he works for the IRS. And who could enjoy their job working for the IRS? I mean, I'm sure that somebody does, but I don't know any single person working for the IRS that is happy.
Well, I mean, if you do work for the IRS, we are sorry. And if you are happy, good for you. We're happy for you. We just don't know anybody personally.
Please don't audit us.
Then there is Kirby Howell-Baptiste, who plays JoJo.
Yep.
The only thing I think I have seen her in is The Good Place.
Yes, she's in The Good Place as well. With Kristen Bell.
Yes. And I mean, I'm looking through here. It says she's on Barry, Killing Eve, Silent Night, Hacks, Cruella, which I do really want to see, Happily. So nothing.
Nothing I've seen. Nope.
No, but that looks like Joel Mchale on Happily. So another Joel Mchale. And then wasn't there somebody else I wanted to mention?
I mean, there was 2 other people. There's Vince Vaughn.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, the IMDb is not
Vince
in
Vaughn
great
was
order.
the most hidden person on this IMDb. I had to scroll down 30 people to find him somehow.
Oh, I saw them run across him.
Past like extras, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm at bank manager. He still hasn't popped up.
No,
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's under RV salesman and in between RV salesman and gun dealer. So
Yeah, and he's a main character in this.
it must be in order of appearance.
Maybe.
I don't know. But anyway, so Vince Vaughn, we did a movie with him. We did Psycho and we've done The Breakup. Are those the only two Vince Vaughn movies we've done?
We've done a few. I can't think of any others off the top of my head,
Well,
obviously.
but we've done those for
we've
sure.
done several.
I adore Vince Vaughn, as does the world, I think.
Yeah, he's delightful.
He plays the post office inspector.
Hacksaw Ridge, we also did.
We did Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. See how great of a memory I have. Woo. But yes, anyways, he plays the post office inspector, and he's great. I mean, he's Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say about that.
Little known fact that the postal inspectors are federal law enforcement, like DEA, FBI.
He had a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a badge. But like, they're up there with Secret Service and all of that. For the most part, the rest of the people in this movie are no-name actors or extras, with the exception of Paul Hauser.
Who is?
He's the assistant manager of the loss prevention that starts the whole investigation into the coupon scam.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's in Richard Jewell. He was in I, Tonya, actually, which we've also covered for the podcast.
We've done that.
So, yeah. I mean, he was a delightful character. He is probably the best character development in the whole movie. He goes from a person that hates his life and just grows as a person, which was nice to see.
Yeah. Also,
he's a lot of the comedic relief.
Yeah,
for this movie. He's like the person that you love to make fun of.
Yeah, he's adorable.
There's always that one person that in a group is the person that you all make fun of. Or collectively, you just agreed to make fun of that person.
Were you that person growing up?
No, I was not actually.
Oh. I mean,
that
you seem to suit.
Wow.
There is one person that, while I'm looking at the IMDb, that I'm actually surprised was also in The Good Place. Do you know who it is?
No.
Mark Evan Jackson, who plays Dr. Gerard. Now, I haven't clicked on it, but I am 100% positive he was in The Good Place. Yes, he was. He was the devil guy.
The evil demon. Okay.
He says his name was Sean, but I don't remember that part, but he was the evil guy. Weird. Yeah. So 3 people in the same movie from The Good Place. Maybe more.
Interesting. All right. Moving on to where are we going now?
So, I mean, you picked this movie because of me. So I wanted to talk about our experience with couponing and like why you thought of me when you saw couponing, because I'm not a couponer. So
you used to be a couponer.
Kind of. So do you want me to say it or do you want
it's kind of your story, so I think that's fair.
I mean, it kind of. So when way back in the day when we started reselling, like prior to it, I actually fell into the couponing community. I was looking for a way to make money and to save money because I had just kind of lost my job and didn't know what to do, and found the couponing community on Instagram and found some people and, whatever. And we tried all the different things. We tried, doing the coupons online. We tried doing the glitch deals, which is like when a company like misprices an item.
And then you can go buy it because it rings up for a penny or...
Right, we got great sheets doing that. So, I mean, we did all those things. But couponing was a lot. It's a lot of like, you have to collect all of the coupons. You have to like build up points for different like reward systems. You have to be the
first one there to find the glitch because news gets out fast.
Yeah, and if you aren't the first there and the store has caught up, they get real mad when they see what you're trying to do. And they put up signs saying like, don't try to buy this because our system is wrong. And like it's a thing. And you have to drive to places that are not necessarily local to you because it might not be whatever. So it's a whole thing.
That's a whole thing. Yeah,
it is. But from the couponing community, I found reselling. One of the couponers that I talked to who was local to me introduced me to reselling, and now it's my life. That's what I do.
First ever thing that you sold was something that you couponed. You got a makeup palette. It was a buy one, get one.
Yeah, I believe it was at Kohl's.
Something like that. And then you sold the one for more than you paid for both of them, so you made money and got a free makeup palette.
Yeah, and it was my first Poshmark sale, which is where I make the majority of my money now. But it was how I learned how to sell on there, and it's kind of cool. So I guess I have couponing to thank for my business.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of adorable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proud of us. Now, we don't really do couponing anymore, but I would really love to get back into it, which is why I asked you guys for your tips, because I would really love to be able to do more of that. I love budgeting. I love being money conscious, but I'm just, if it's going to take...
She is the most frugal person I know.
Yes, but if it takes a lot of work, that's where I tap out.
She's also very lazy.
Yeah. So, anyway, okay, so let's move into this movie. I feel like we did a lot of bantering. We did 20 minutes of bantering, really.
Yeah. That's kind of our thing.
Yeah, but let's really get into it. So, first thing that I have written down here that is mentioned is the Olympic race walking. So, Kristen Bell's character says that she is an Olympic race walker, which truthfully, when I heard that on screen, I'm like, oh, they made that up. They thought it was like cute.
Thing.
Yeah, like I feel like they were trying to like make fun of people who like claim that they're these things that they're not.
It's a thing?
It's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah. So I Googled this because I needed to know. Like I
mean, I knew that there were obscure Olympic events. Like there are some really odd events. There's the skiing and gunfire one for the Winter Olympics.
I'm sorry. Skiing.
And target shooting with a rifle.
No, I need to know, are they separate or together?
Together. You shoot on skis.
That sounds like a death wish. That's what that sounds like. But no, okay. So Olympic race walking is real. So I did Google it because I needed to know. And there is 3 race walking events at the Olympics. There's the men as well as the women's. This is 2 20-kilometer walks. And there is then the men's 50-kilometer walk. So because this is a women's movie, I decided to look up the record. I wanted to know what the women's record is. So the women's events was introduced in 1992 at the Barcelona Olympics. And the record currently is 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 46 seconds for a 20-kilometer walk for women.
Is, I'm trying to figure out, 6 miles or so? 6.5 miles?
Okay, so how much is like that per mile?
I don't know.
Well, that was great. That was great. Thank you, numbers guy. So glad that I have you on the podcast. Yeah. So anyway, though, I thought that was really cool that really existed. I don't know like how you would even become famous from that. She was talking about like how a lot of Olympic athletes aren't famous. It's like, yeah, because your event's not famous. Like,
of course. When she said that, I had instantly thought of Malcolm in the Middle because Bryan Cranston, there's a scene where he's a competitive race walker. And it's just, the whole episode long, it's him trying to beat this guy and getting the fancy helmet to be aerodynamic and a skin tight thing. And he finds out that the guy is actually technically running because he lifts both feet.
Oh.
And yeah, it was a whole thing.
So you knew that Olympic race walking was a thing?
I didn't know that Olympic race walking was a thing. It was just competitive race walking. It was 2 guys in the middle of their hometown just trying to outdo each other.
Oh, so you knew it was a sport. You just didn't know if it was pro.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Understood. Well, it is pro. So, anyway, when she was talking about Olympic race walking, she was also explaining that because of her Olympic background, she understood what was called the winner effect. And the winner effect is also what drove her for couponing. So she was explaining that basically the winner effect is online it says testosterone, but she was talking about like dopamine levels increasing because of, winning. Every time you win, you get like a boost of...
Yeah, it's what makes people competitive. People enjoy winning. It gives them that nice feeling that they are better.
Right. And I mean, it sounded a lot like gambling when she was talking about it, because she was talking about it with couponing, and she was talking about like when you get a deal, you get like really excited and you want to just keep getting those deals. So you just keep doing it and you end up hoarding, and then you end up overspending because you just keep wanting that high again.
Right.
Which is exactly how people gamble.
Couponing, gambling, sports, video games.
Right.
You want to beat the game. That's why games are so addicting.
Right.
So it's just everything that we are focused on feeds into that.
Right. And so, I mean, the thing that bothered me when she was talking about that, like as somebody who sees the couponing community and sees how it works, is that you can still have that high, but also make money, sell your stock. Like, why are you holding all of this stuff when you can make money off of it, make your money back, and then you can continue to chase that high? It's essentially reselling, but in the couponing world.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's the same thing that I do. Obviously, I'm going to get that high every time I make a sale, so then I want to make another sale, which is totally okay as long as I continue to make the sales.
Well, it's the same kind of thing where it just success feeds on itself. Like you have a productive sales day or productive sales week, and it just keeps going.
Yeah. I mean, I do wish that I didn't find a lot about the original couponers that this happened to, because if you guys didn't know, this is based on a true story.
I have that story, actually.
Well, good. But the what I don't know is the background, right? So because I wonder, like, did they struggle to continually make money prior to this? Like, did they get into this because of that? And if they did, that's surprising to me, because most couponers know how to make money with this. They're frugal people. That's what they do. Or was it like the winning effect, where they were already making money? Now they figured out they can make more money. So they're like, kind of chasing that high.
Probably the second one, where they were already making money or saving enough money that it wasn't really a problem. And then they figured out a huge way to make an obscene amount of money.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me. But you know the real story?
Yes. So in 2012, the feds busted up a coupon ring in Phoenix, Arizona, home to one of your good reselling friends.
Yes, one of my best buddies.
Yeah. Not involved in anything fraudulent.
No.
I want to say that for the record.
He is amazing. Thank you.
So they found $25 million worth of fake coupons at this place. It was a $40 million coupon ring, estimated value at the time it was broken up. Wow. Costing companies like Procter & Gamble, Hershey's, Pepsi, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh my goodness.
They got caught because their deals were so good. There was a lot of the free items or significantly discounted items where you're paying a few dollars for a $40 item. Mm-hmm. They actually decided to have these coupons manufactured in China. So they were counterfeit coupons in the real story. So they made fake coupons rather than going and getting the real coupons. And they sold them on eBay or invited through their contacts onto their website privately.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's bad.
They had 22 assault weapons when they were arrested.
Why?
I don't know. 21 vehicles, including a 75-foot RV.
Again, why?
Or just a huge RV. Like, it was just.
What do you need this stuff for?
I don't know. It was the FBI, not the U.S. Postal Inspectors.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I'm betting that they probably were looped in to try to track them down, because most people don't know this, but zip codes have meaning behind the numbers.
Of course they do.
And they have a pattern to them.
Right.
You can tell where it is going just based off the zip code.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's the real story.
That's interesting, because the way it's presented in this, you're just kind of like, really? That's how it would go down? Now, do you know if the real couponers had a YouTube channel? Because couponers do have YouTube channels. That is not under the norm.
I did not find a YouTube channel related to this. I did find that they were selling them a lot on eBay, mm-hmm. And then privately on their website. And they had to pay back to Procter & Gamble $1.2 million in fines, because that's how much they cost Procter & Gamble, among other companies. So, wow. Yeah.
Well, so since you mentioned that the true story, they did counterfeit, we should jump into our topic about bad criminals. So basically we wrote this down because there are so many instances in this movie where you're just like, okay, but is this how you would do this? And is this how it would go down? So we'll start with that one because you mentioned it. So counterfeiting. First of all, did they counterfeit in this movie? Was it counterfeit?
I would argue that they were not counterfeit. They were just stolen excess.
So the only reason that I'm a little questionable about this is because when you coupon, right, they have individual serial numbers or barcodes depending on the thing. And these particular ones were overage. So those barcodes had been voided out. So they no longer existed. They weren't real anymore. So if a company...
They were voided out on paper, but they still worked.
They weren't supposed to work. Right. So when it was scanned into the store, it went through. But when it went to the company, there was nothing to back that up. Like there wasn't trackable. It wasn't anything. So like, does that count as counterfeit, or like what? That's like saying, is a voided check a counterfeit check?
You can't cash a voided check. That like there's no mechanism in place to catch these, which is why in the movie it was such a brilliant idea. They were just taking the ones that were already printed by the company that they paid the company to print them.
Right.
And then,
Now, I think now there is a mechanism to catch these because if I understand correctly, if something gets voided out, it doesn't, the store can't scan it. So I think that they've rectified the situation, or maybe that never worked in the first place.
But then the stores make mistakes all the time, and they price things at a penny.
Well, that is true.
When they mean to price it at $16 or whatever it is.
Yes, and if you're wondering what he's referring to, he's talking about Nordstrom, Nordstrom Rack. They sometimes have penny items, so if you haven't found those...
Walmart, we had items, we got bed sheets for like $1.
We've done that too, so yeah.
So sometimes the stores will misplace the decimal when they're pricing things.
Yes.
So I don't trust people not to make mistakes.
Right.
Even now. What?
Pause.
I mean, shifting gears a little bit, they were really bad at the whole criminal thing. They had to bring in the person that stole her identity, and she couldn't help them.
No, she was a wonderful actress, I want to say, first of all, because I believe this was her first feature film from what I saw on Twitter. She was wonderful. So I want to start by just saying that. But yeah, so you bring in someone who already stole your identity, which seems weird because they literally, from my understanding, gave her their bank account because she had to be able to see it to be able to make sure that the money was clean. Yeah. So they had to have given this person who stole their identity their bank account. I
think she was okay. They were okay with that because she was getting a fee from the scam, so she's getting like 15%.
But if someone's willing to steal your identity, like that...
Yeah, that's really not a good plan.
It doesn't make any sense, especially when you're getting millions of dollars. It makes no sense whatsoever. But then they wanted to clean the money. Now, they didn't know the money was already clean.
Oh my God.
But they decided to go purchase things to clean the money, which I couldn't wrap my brain around to begin with, because how
that gave me so much
agita?
Yeah, I was aggravated and just mad with the movie at that moment in time, because that's not how things work. That you can't just go out and buy $330,000 of sperm from the fertility clinic. You can't buy 10 Lamborghinis in cash. You can't buy 22 assault weapons. That's not a thing that you can do.
No, when I saw them at the car place and they were buying all the cars, I just thought of the movie Psycho, and when she bought the car in cash because she had taken the money from that guy, and how like red flags went off. And I'm like, that movie is from like the 60s. If red flags went off then, these girls buy like 10 cars now.
Oh, no.
Every red flag is going off.
Every single cash transaction above $10,000 is required to be tracked and sent to the federal government.
Oh, I'm sure. Because they want to know where that money came from.
Right. So any cash transaction, a lot of times you'll see $9,999. Because
so that you don't get tracked.
So you're trying to avoid being, which is a separate financial crime, just FYI. If you structure it in a way so you're trying to avoid the reporting requirements, that is in and of itself a crime.
So
you can't get away from it. There's no good way to do that. So you're better off taking the money from the bank and leaving it in the bank and buying a cash business like a laundromat or car wash.
Great, are you telling people how to commit crimes? Is that what we're doing? Because I feel like that's a crime too.
Do not go out and launder money.
Oh my goodness! Don't launder money at a laundromat. That's what we just did.
Well, the TV show Ozarks goes into it. He launders money for the mob or the drug cartels, and he puts it into businesses to get the money out clean.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
I can imagine. I don't think it's a good idea. The other thing that they did that didn't make any sense to me was they bought a bunch of weapons.
Oh, God.
And then not only did they buy the weapons, but they decided to offload said weapons to, some weird backyard militia or whatever.
First, they wanted to try eBay, which do not send weapons through eBay. That is...
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are gun sellers on eBay, but I know that there is a lot of, strict requirements. And, I don't... I wouldn't go through that. But you do not meet some dude who happens to be wearing camo and has a gun on him and then follow him to the backwoods with a bunch of other dudes who have guns and
tanks and helicopters and...
Yeah, and it's just shady and scary, and then you just give him guns. First of all, you need to make sure that they are licensed. It is illegal to sell them guns. It's also illegal to sell guns that you got that...
Darling, this is Arizona. Not all gun laws are like Massachusetts gun laws.
Okay. maybe not, but it can't be legal to give
No,
guns
our
bin
gun
of
laws
guns.
in this country are so broken. There needs to be a federal standard because
There-
there are ways to avoid all of that and just buy as many guns as you want with a photo ID.
I
and that's
refuse to believe that there is a place where it is okay to give a bin of guns, which was purchased by unregistered people, to unregistered men with no paper trail, no nothing. They just handed it off and they paid in cash.
That is something that theoretically in some states you can't do.
Well,
which is
that
terrifying.
feels terrible.
Yeah, it's a broken system.
And also, they were both women, small women, who could have very easily died. Like, those men could have been like, I'm not paying you for anything. That is a barrel of guns and I'll use it against you. Like,
we're in the middle of the desert in Arizona.
No one knows where you are.
No one's
You've got
coming
guns
looking for
in
you.
your car. Like, are you kidding? Like, no, girls, be safe out there. Like, y'all. Well, that was a bad criminal moment. That's all I'm saying. Do you have any other bad criminal moments?
I think that's really it. Also, Kristen Bell's character should have paid a lot more attention to her husband's job and how to get away with money laundering.
Do you think she would have done better if she?
I think she would have. You sit there and say, "Honey, how was your day? What'd you do?"
Any interesting stories from the day?
Yeah, how'd you catch this guy?
What did he do exactly? Like step by step. Well, since you brought that up, their marriage. Let's talk about their marriage because I feel like for me that was the thing in this movie that I was most interested in because there were so many like moments of
it
like
was a really bad, awkward marriage.
It really was. So
and I want to say this: I can't imagine having to go through the difficulty of a miscarriage after miscarriage. That's something that
that's horrible
would
and
destroy anyone's will to go on.
Absolutely. And
I understand that.
If that is what caused everything, then that's horrible. And, I'm glad that, the ending ended up where they were able to figure out that they wanted to go on their separate ways.
She was able to figure out that she wanted a baby.
But aside from that, so to start at the very beginning, the fact that he is so unsupportive of her couponing. Now, he is in the IRS and he's all about living frugal and, keeping track of every dollar. So you would think couponing would be up his alley.
I think his main problem was that she was spending more money than she had to because she had a room full of things that she wasn't using.
So you think he would have been more supportive if she had been selling the overstock?
If she had been making a profit off that from couponing and selling the things that she wasn't going to use, yeah, I think he would have been more happy with that.
Do you think so?
I do.
Because he felt like just being miserable to be miserable. And he also felt like they didn't have money problems, even though he complained about them. Like, he's one of those guys that was like, oh, my God, we have no money, you shouldn't be spending, but, like, really had, like, $1 million in his bank account. Like, that's the type of man he felt like to me.
So you.
Rude, but yes, also that. Also, yes. That's the type of person he felt like to me.
I mean, I can understand that, but it didn't seem like they were in that nice of a house. He was having to work all the time. And
I'll take their house. Want to swap? I mean, if it's not that nice, I'll take it.
Fair.
Yeah, exactly. Fair.
Our house is the bar, though. Like that's where we're drawing the line between nice and not nice house. Our house is that's where you're going.
Hey, you know what? I'll take the step up. Okay. Then the IVF comment. So that was the first moment where I really just I was really upset. So he basically said to her that you should have quit IVF after one treatment, and then we should have been able to move on with our lives. But you're stuck trying to replace the baby you didn't have with couponing. And that, to me, like, I get he was upset. I get that he was angry, but that is not something you say.
I wrote down in my notes in the theater, dude, you got to be nicer to your wife. That's not something you can say.
I mean, like, is that something you can even forgive? Like, is that a comment that you can come back from? Like, I
don't think you can. Like, that's a instantly having to go out and buy flowers and chocolate and a pot. Like, that's a, honey, I'm sorry.
And that's an in the moment apology. That's I can't believe what I just said. Yeah. I didn't mean that type of apology. That's not I come back a week later and say I'm sorry. Like at that moment I started feeling like, you know what? I don't care about him at all. And I think they wanted you to, right? I think they wanted you to distance yourself from him because you needed to, because they're about to start committing crimes behind his back and it could jeopardize his job. Right. So that was the next thing I wanted to ask you. She is doing something that very clearly could get him completely fired from his job and blacklisted. Now,
he could go to jail for that if they could prove that he was connected. That's a huge deal. He's an IRS auditor, and they're committing all numbers of federal crimes.
right, and it doesn't have to be simply that. It doesn't have to be that he was involved. It just has to be that he had an awareness.
Right.
And proving that someone's not aware of something is awfully difficult.
Yeah.
Like, he received a TV. Like, that could be enough where they're like, okay, you knew she came into money. You got a TV. Did you ask her where it came from? Like, it could be simply like that. So my question to you is there, do you feel like there's any kind of issue with the fact that she did that, knowing the impact it could have on her husband and not caring?
Well, she didn't care when she was arrested in prison, and he was like just finding out about it.
Well, I mean, before that, though.
But-
like, she went into this knowing what it could do to her husband, and it didn't seem like she cared.
I don't think she cared at all. No.
And so does that make her the asshole, or are we still saying he's the asshole because of the IVF comment?
I don't think it's either or. I think
So they're mutual
both.
assholes?
Yeah.
So, okay. So, as long as we both agree, because when she did that, I was like, girl, like, you can't just jeopardize your husband's job like that. Like, I don't know. That just bothered me. Okay, then the sperm. So this is one that's talked about all over the internet. I realize this is a feminist movie. I realize that it's and don't get me wrong, I appreciate those. But this is bad, right? So she
passes the Bechdel test.
Oh, it passes the Bechdel test, but this is bad. So she goes to the fertility clinic, and because she wants to try again to have a baby, she finally has money to do it. And obviously her husband is not going to support her because of said IVF comment that we said earlier. So she decides to go, and, the guy says, we still have some of your husband's sperm, so lucky for you, we can just do it, whatever. And she says, no, I don't want his sperm. I want to pick whatever sperm, she decides to, go through the book or whatever. And he says, do you want to, tell your husband, let him know? And she's like, no. So she gets sperm implanted by another man and does not tell her husband. What's the morality of that?
I think that she's super shitty for doing that.
Now,
personally,
we know at the end that they're going to get divorced, right?
What my question is, why not just get the divorce first and be like, I'm not happy, I want to divorce you?
Well, so that's where my question's going, right? So she didn't get the divorce first. So my question is, does he now have to pay child support on the baby that is not his? Because he doesn't know it's not his.
I think technically, if the baby was conceived while they were married, yes. In most places, he would have to pay child support.
And that's
for
horrible.
that baby. Yeah.
Now, I would hope that she wouldn't push for it, but I gotta say, based on the actions that she took throughout the movie, I think she would.
Yeah, I can totally see someone being petty and spiteful.
Well, he didn't bail her out, so yeah, she's gonna be petty, she's gonna be feeling spiteful, and she's got the upper hand because she's got the baby and he doesn't know. Only person that knows is JoJo.
And the doctor, but they're protected by...
He can't say anything. He could then get slapped with a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Are these likable characters?
I don't think there's any likable character. The most likable character in this whole thing is the post office guy that is in love with
JoJo is nice, too. I don't have any issues with her.
I mean, she commits a whole lot of crimes.
Well, she's a criminal, but she's a likable criminal, where Kristen Bell and Joel Mchale are...
Reluctant criminal. The Mexican couple that are doing it for their baby.
Oh, they're delightful.
Yeah.
Too. They're delightful, too. But Kristen Bell and Joel Mchale are terrible people in this movie.
It was just...
It's bad. And then, I mean, finally with their marriage, we talked about the jail. And he comes and he's like, I'm bailing you out. He comes to basically say I'm not.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, I want a divorce. And I'm just like, but is he in the wrong in this situation for not bailing her out?
He's allowed to be very angry with his wife for throwing his entire life and career into jeopardy for selfish reasons.
Yeah, and he told her to chill on the whole couponing thing because he felt like she was trying to fill a void. Now, he should have said it better. He should have said, hey, I feel like you might be trying to fill a void and you need some help. Let me help you with that, type thing. But
talk to somebody or...
Right. But either way, I think that they were right to get a divorce, but God, I hope she didn't go for child support. Whew.
They should have gotten a divorce years ago at that point. It was a divorce 10 years down, past due.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. And then the last thing we have regarding, tangentially regarding the movie, right? So we have a Discord and we talk about movies, and we mentioned this movie, and one of our movie friends basically said he was not interested in this because the trailer looked terrible. And, you know, it kind of spurned a conversation about what makes a good comedy versus a mediocre comedy. Like, what characteristics are needed for a comedy to become a good comedy?
I mean, it comes down to a case-by-case basis. It's the person that is in the movie, the actor, and how they present the line. It comes down to the circumstances. It comes down to all of that. It comes down to the writer. There's a lot that goes into a good movie or a bad movie. And I'd said on the last one, I was worried this one was going to be on that knife's edge and could go either way. I'm thinking it fell more into on the good side because there was a lot of great moments in this movie. There's a lot of great one-liners. Like I'm confused. If you not used the coupon or had sex? Or why don't you buy it? Because you're an asshole.
Yeah. There's a lot of good one-liners. I think that the cast definitely pushed this over the top.
Yeah.
And for me, having it be a true story also made it more entertaining because it was kind of like, okay, so like somebody did dumb crap like this. Like somebody, I know that you're exaggerating for a film, but like there's something this is based on, and that's kind of amusing.
I mean, Vince Vaughn and Ken.
That the adorable bromance that had going on there.
The bromance, the fucking with him, the whole car scene. No spoilers.
No spoilers there. But if you guys haven't seen the car scene, like, please do. Please watch.
Watch this movie just for that back and forth that they have.
Yeah, so the last podcast we did, we talked about car chase. This is the best
stationary car scene that I've seen in a while.
Yes, for sure. So it's wonderful. We can't give that away because that's literally the highlight of the movie.
Yeah, there's so many.
Or low light, I mean.
It's both at the same time. It's Schrodinger's scene.
Yeah.
It's both good and bad.
Yeah. So anyway, but I am curious what you guys think about what makes a movie, a good comedy, like stand out. Because I always find comedies don't have like that, you know, thrillers have that like extra thing that makes you think and all that, but the comedies don't. So if you guys have like something that makes you really feel it's a good comedy, let us know. And now we're moving on to your history minute.
Tyler's History Minute.
Do you have one?
Because I have a few.
You murdered your history minute.
I really did murder my history minute with the post office last time. I was struggling, and now it's paying it forward. So the first ever coupon.
Ooh, I'm interested.
Do you know what company?
I mean, I told you my guess was Procter & Gamble, but you said no.
It's an American company.
Is it like still in existence today?
It is still in existence today.
Like Hershey?
No.
Okay.
Coca-Cola.
Okay, that makes sense.
1888, they offered a free glass of Coca-Cola at any restaurant, which was typically selling for 5 cents.
Nice.
So
did they give the reason, like why they decided to do this?
He was trying to promote it to make Coke more popular because it wasn't selling outside of Georgia.
Okay.
And from 1894 to 1913, this coupon was in effect. Approximately 1 out of every 9 Americans received a free Coke.
Wow. Damn.
And
that's an effective coupon.
And the rest is history. Yeah. So there's that. I've already briefly touched on the real life story.
Yes.
Which I can kind of pull back into this history minute. Last thing I want to talk about was Jesus Malverde, Mexican Robin Hood.
He was the little statue, right?
The little statue that they were talking about. This is like Robin Hood. And they're like, no, we have our own. That's Jesus Malverde. He turned to banditry. Rumored that there's no real hard and fast
it's
sources.
Folklore, right?
Yeah. After his parents died of hunger or a preventable disease, so poverty. So he's very upset with the robber barons, the railroads coming in, and the elite having everything and the peasants having nothing.
Makes
sense.
He
started stealing things. Rumored to have stolen the governor's sword or the governor's daughter. Both of them or one of them.
Okay. Swords and humans are getting confused in the story.
I think there's a lot of
translation issues?
Myths related to this. So there's a lot of things that aren't historically accurate that are tied to this person. And he was unfortunately killed in 1909. rumors to be a shootout or captured by police and executed, all of that stuff. So they have a Mexican Robin Hood. I wish we had one. Do we have one? I don't think we do.
Do we have a Robin Hood? Of course we have a Robin Hood.
What? Who's our Robin Hood?
Robin Hood.
No, that's English Robin Hood. We need an American Robin Hood. How dare...
my goodness. Well, so if you guys know of an American Robin Hood, not a British one, because apparently that's not good enough, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that's all you got?
That's all I got for the history.
That's because you murdered your history minute.
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah.
I went into detail in the post office and I done messed up.
Yeah, well, you'll beef it up next time. Okay, so we don't have audience ask.
Audience asks.
Right, and we knew that was going to happen because it's a brand new movie and it's only at Cinemark, so I don't fault you guys for that. However...
There's like 6 Cinemark theaters in the country.
Yes. However, we have had an email from a listener, and that never happens. Guys, we love emails, and you will...
It has happened in the past. There's been a few of them.
But I'm dramatic. Okay, but we will, if you send us emails, we will 100% find a way to mention you. And this time, we're doing an audience ask because we don't have any, and you are our audience, so I felt like it was appropriate. But anyways, this person, his name is Adam, sent me a song, and it was the Shay Poop song from the same person as the Tyler Poop song. So somehow, on the last episode...
You missed the one that's tied to your name.
Yeah, so on the last episode of Baby Driver, we started off by talking about songs that were tied to our name because Baby Driver did that, blah, 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 and I had found Tyler's Poop song. And apparently, I missed my own. Maybe intentionally, let's be real, right? Like, I mean, that's possible. It's also spelled a little bit differently than my name, so maybe I don't know, didn't think to misspell my name to find it. I don't know. But anyways, he sent it to us. And it literally gave me a shit-eating grin. Is that, too far? But I wanted to shout him out.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
I wanted to shout him out because it made our night to have interaction from you guys. And he actually has a podcast. He's local. Okay, I wanted to just say that. I don't know if he meant to tell me that, but he did. But he's local, so maybe like podcast collab in the future. I don't know. But his name is The Internet is a Toilet, which is a fact. So good for him. He's got
Didn't you find out that you have mutual friends?
Yeah, and I'm not going to say
who
the mutual friends are because that's weird, right? But yes, there is somebody that is friends with my mother, and there is somebody that I went to high school with that I have known my entire life. Okay, so like literally this person, I moved to Attleboro in 2nd grade, and he was in my class, and he stayed with me until I graduated high school.
So when we say local, it's very local.
Yes. Yeah. So, whoa. So anyway, maybe podcast collab? Discuss this?
I don't know if we have a whole lot to go back and forth on.
But I need to know, like, do you know me? Like, there's so many questions, right? But anyways, he does The Internet is a Toilet. And I want you guys to go and listen to him. Let him know that we sent you because that's just amazing. And he has, it looks like 30 to 40 episodes, so there's plenty to listen to. So make sure you do that. We're going to be doing it. So I wanted to give that out there. And next week, I promise you, we will have audience ask, but it's up to you guys to leave those questions. So don't forget, I post them over on Twitter at CinematicallyC. If you don't see it, you can still just tweet it at me. I will screenshot it and still use it in the episode. So make sure you do that. Reviews
and ratings.
Reviews.
So Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is disappointing.
Oh no.
It's 45.
Well, poo on you.
You're gonna have to get over the toilet humor at some point, right?
I mean, it's a little inappropriate for the movie, but I won't say why.
The audience score is much higher. It's 83.
Okay.
Which I think is more in line with what I was going to say. I was going to give it a solid 7.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing earth-shattering great about it. It's nice that it's a true story.
I'm doing my rating first next time.
What?
Because I was going to give it the exact same score. So next time I go first. But anyways, keep going.
It's a good cast. I mean, it's not Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, but it's a solid cast.
Right.
There's no real soundtrack like Baby Driver. It's not even in the same ballpark.
We came off of an epic soundtrack.
You can't compare them. But But it's fine. It's certainly worth the watch. I mean, certainly an entertaining movie. And that's why you go.
If you're going for a good time, you're going to have a good time.
It was a lighthearted, easy to watch movie. And sometimes that's what you need. And especially if you're going back to the theater for the first time, you don't want a heavy movie to drag you down.
Exactly.
So.
I was going to give it a 7 too. Obviously, it's interesting for me to see something about couponing because it's really not talked about. And it's not, it's not mainstream. Like, I feel like not a lot of people really know all the ins and outs. And you don't know how much money is to be made there, which there's a ton. So
$40 million, apparently.
I meant legally. But anyway, so I found that fun. Obviously, Kristen Bell and Joel Mchale are people that I love. And I actually really enjoyed I don't know the actress's name, but the one that played the identity thief.
No.
I enjoyed her. I enjoyed JoJo as well. Only ever seeing her on The Good Place before, but she played an amazing role in this, and a YouTuber and everything. Like, I just found that whole thing fun. So I love the characters. It's just, it's a comedy, right? There isn't much more to it than that. So for me, that's all I'm going to give it. Really, you're only going to get like 10s from me by like Thrillers or something like that. It
has to be a perfect movie like Paddington 2, which we still have not seen.
Paddington 2, and you keep calling it perfect. But yeah,
it's apparently the only movie with a perfect score.
I don't think still. I heard on Twitter someone told me that it got knocked down because of somebody on a British TV interview show. I don't know.
No, you must find that person and make them retract their negative review.
Redacted. But yeah, that is everything I have. So do you know what our next movie is going to be?
I do. It's The Greatest Showman.
Which we both haven't seen.
I know.
So we're about to be attacked because it is a very popular movie. I've been dying to see it. I believe Hugh Jackman is the main character.
Probably. I don't even remember the last time I saw the trailer. I've wanted to see it for a long time.
Same. So I'm very excited about this. So that is everything we have. I'm really excited to come back with that. And make sure you guys send us our questions. I know you've seen this movie, so make sure that you do that. So thank you to Jake at This Music for intro and outro music. And we will be back next week with The Greatest Showman.
Thank you all for listening.